Hi, my name's Lindy and welcome to my channel. My website is www.lindycowling.co.uk and my email is info@lindycowling.co.uk. There are still sessions available for December, from early December right the way through till the third week in December. There are sessions sitting there available. So if you do wish to make a booking for December, now would be the time to do it while those sessions are still free for you. There are also MP3 copies of the album that myself and my younger son put out, which is a series of transmissions for activations of certain parts of consciousness and to alleviate certain emotions, but also to help encourage one to certain states of consciousness. That album is called Solar Transmissions. It's available for £10 donation or $12 donation via PayPal, and I'll put the links etc below, and then we send you an MP3 copy of the file, which then you can download within a week of its arrival. If you don't download it within the week that it's with you, it disappears into the ethers, so you have a week to download it at your leisure, and of course then you can play it, to your heart's content. We have had some really excellent feedback back, because it's not just a series of soundtracks, it's not just music for music's sake. It is an activation transmission, so we have had great feedback and we really love doing it, and there will be a completely different album to that, but something very different out in the new year, probably around springtime, but maybe before that. So before I launch into this video, I hope you are well. I've just realised the date, 22/11/2019. This is a spontaneous video that I'm putting out today. I did have some ideas mulling around, but there is also a personal reason why I'm putting this video out today. This video is going to be called 2020, the year of finality. So it's an energy update, a personal energy update, but also a global energy update, an energy update on behalf of the people watching this. So on a personal note, that 2020, the year of finality, definitely ringing true for me, and definitely ringing true for many people that I have the pleasure and the honour of working with. For some time now, since July of this year really, and actually even last year there was a little bit of something. I've noticed that the flow of the energy to do with the work I'm doing is just not there in the way I'd like it. So what I mean by that is my reading energy, tapping into energy, translating energy is all absolutely fine. And I'm part of the way through writing a book on quantum consciousness and lots of different things happening there. The album side of it is all coming out creatively. That side of it is fine, but there are other aspects of what is happening that is not fine. So I've been putting out appeals. I put out a couple of appeals, I think earlier in the year. One in September, I think I think it was one in July. I'd have to look back at my videos. I haven't checked them out. Saying that the financial flow coming in here has just been it's been cut off, and it's been cut off quite significantly. So this isn't just me. I've been seeing this with certain spiritual players, certain people out there that suddenly are having themselves backed into a corner. Their finances are being cut off, or there are many other things happening at the same time. There are many other things happening for me at the same time, where that's why I'm so croaky. I don't usually record in the mornings, but I'm living in a property again that I'm trying to leave because it has black mold in it and it's damp. so I can't get out of that property without the finances to do it. So that has exacerbated some health issues with me, which I'm wading my way through with some wonderful support from a healer that I've mentioned on this channel before, Paula. So I'm wading my way through those, but it's exacerbating things significantly, living in a place that is damp and mouldy. So my flow of income has been stop, start, like really spluttering, like an aircraft running out of fuel, really since the summer of this year, and kind of deteriorating since then. And really I've been a victim of my own success in a way. As I've become more well known and in a way more popular, people are not prepared to wait 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks for a session. So they don't book the sessions, and I've been someone that has been entirely reliant as being self-employed on those session bookings. There's no backup, there's no team of us doing this, there's just me doing that. So when that stops, that leaves me, you know, high and dry. And of course, it's never stopped before until we hit the summer of this year. It keeps stopping, starting, stopping, starting. So at the point I'm at the moment is, if this continues in this vein for many more weeks, you know, I will have to walk away entirely from what I've been doing for the last 20 years. Now, does that fill me with horror and sadness? It doesn't fill me with horror and sadness, because the way I look at it is that flow, in a way, should be there, and it's not there. And there are things that I'm doing, like the album that we've brought out, things that we're doing from that space, or I've been doing from that space of love and compassion, that let's say wasn't done for financial reasons. I mean, that's why we're only asking donations. That was done for love, but could have brought that flow in and hasn't brought that flow in. And I've launched Patreon, and I have a lovely group of people on Patreon, but the group I have on Patreon would not be enough to keep me financially afloat. So what I'm saying here is, it shouldn't be a struggle for me to continue to do this. And as it is presenting as a struggle for me to do this, there's only kind of two ways to look at it. Either, you know, this is my time to walk away from this now and do something very different, or to walk away and do something in a different form, or to walk away and, you know, just see if I can create something kind of very new. You know, I've been giving it time, and it's not improving. So where we stand at the moment is where I was booking 6 or 7 weeks ahead in the summer and over the last few weeks. Now that's slowed down, and I'm booking now. I do have bookings available through December, so I'm booking about 2 to 3 weeks ahead now, which is actually normal for me. That's come back to normal. Because of how backed up things have been getting, people having to wait for so long, made a decision that any bookings for January, I'll take those bookings at the end of December. So I'm not going to book ahead, that far ahead anymore, because people get frustrated and in the end they don't book, and that leaves me high and dry. So I don't have a safety net there. Like many of you that work in these arenas, there aren't any safety nets. So it's, you know, the point I'm making here is it shouldn't be this difficult for me to do this. And if it is, then it's a wake-up call to maybe I shouldn't be doing this anymore. So I'm not going to make this video into an appeal. To be honest, it's getting slightly embarrassing having to come up here and say, you know, put another appeal out. And I have to be honest about this. I'm so appreciative of the people that have stepped up to the mark, not once, but a couple of times now over the last so many months, and helped and tried to donate. Out of the 16.5, approaching 17,000 actually subscribers, those that stepped up to the mark were wonderful, but they were actually a very small amount, and I'm not being ungrateful there, but so that people don't get the misconception that I'm being helped out on a massive scale here. I think the amount of people that worked out was around about 160 people out of nearly 17,000. So it hasn't been a life-changing thing. It's just about got my head above the water again before it's gone down again. So I don't want to make this video all about me and a woe is me. I'm totally philosophical about this. I don't think it would be this hard if it's a meant to be thing. I've looked at it, you know, is it, let's say, the more negative forces trying to shut me down? And I have seen many YouTubers actually walk away from YouTube because the same thing, they've been cut off financially, they've gotten sick or sicker, and they're getting it on all fronts. Even the laptop I'm filming on today is hanging on by a thread. Literally, I can't show you it with the camera, but I haven't had the finances to replace the laptop or replace the equipment. Been working on a literally walking a tightrope and a shoelace for a long time now. Because it's been something I've loved being doing, but also, you know, I've been, let's say, in that state of service for you guys for 20 years now, 10 years, specializing in this arena. But if it's something I can't do anymore, not because it's not keeping me in a life of luxury, but it's not even keeping me in a life that's a reasonable balance, you know, if it's not bringing me in, if it's actually keeping me in a state of a poverty state and pushing me further down, it's not something I'm going to be able to do. And should I have to go and get an ordinary job or something different, shall we say, in some respect, you know, I'm not going to have the time or energy to put stuff up here for you guys then. So when I say 2020, the year of finality, I'm going to get into the energy side of that in a minute, but the reason I'm putting this across is it's also a very personal thing too, because it has now got to that point. And I can't really allow it to go any further, because it would get to a point where I can't claw back, can't come back up from that. So it's not really big decision time. It's happening anyway. It's happening in some respects. That side of it is out of my hands. So I'm going to get into the energy update on this now. I mean, I think there are many people probably watching this that might be in a similar stage where they've kind of found that it seems to be change coming that is not entirely comfortable change, and it may be change to their personal relationships, or maybe change to their finances, it might be change to everything. I thought to be as honest as I can possibly be, and this wouldn't be my channel and I wouldn't be Lindy without being honest, I'm not going to put a big show on this and a brave front on this. It's been quite difficult for a while, and I'm you know, it's when things are an uphill struggle the way they have been as long as they have, you know, I think at that point I've got to say, okay, maybe this was something, you know, I shouldn't be doing anymore, don't need to be doing anymore. You know, like I say, I don't have to live a life of luxury, but it shouldn't be this difficult just to do the basics, and it seems to be getting worse. So the more successful I've gotten in this arena, the more longer people have to wait a few weeks, as nobody wants to wait for anything anymore, they just want it in 48 hours, the worse that has become. So this has been kind of a vocation, if you like, a template, a living template for people, and something that I have done with that total transparency and honesty. That's not going to change now. I'm going to be totally transparent and honest here and say this is an uphill struggle and it shouldn't be. So 2020, the year of finality for me, seems to be happening anyway, unfolding anyway. And should there not be a complete turnaround really over the next 6 weeks, then I will have to walk away from this as a channel, and walk away from what I'm doing here now, and create in a way that I haven't been creating before, create differently and create other avenues in my life for that to flow, because like I say, I don't have a safety net. There is no safety net for me. So I'm kind of working on a wing and a prayer here, going on a wing and a prayer, and I'm very much in the lap of the gods, so to speak. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. If it's not, I'm going to have to walk away, like many other people that have been doing this for years, and like many other YouTubers, you know, if it's time, it's time. So that having been said, I've just spent 15 minutes on me here where I didn't intend to do that. If you feel inspired to order the album so that you donate, and then you have some work that we've created as a result of that, feel free. I'll leave the link below. If you wish to donate anyway, you're inspired to donate anyway, feel free. And if not, that's absolutely fine. I'm putting this video out anyway, and I'm putting it out also because I feel inspired to put this video out today. So I'm going to crack on now. That's my personal bit done, and obviously I will keep you up to date and informed as to where things are going at the end of the year. Like I say, December sessions are sitting there available for you if you want to make a booking. January sessions, I'm going to, so that I don't get in a situation where I'm booking 6 or 7 weeks ahead, because people really don't like it, and I've lost a lot of bookings as a result of that. Actually, it's left me in a real serious situation now where I might have to walk away. What I'm going to do is January sessions, I will take bookings for January sort of the 29th, 30th of December, so I won't book for January until we get to the end of December. So that's kind of first come, first served, but people then don't have to wait more than a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. That's the only way I can do it. If I'm going to keep offering sessions, it's the only way I can do it. Patreon, if you want to sign up for, you can sign up for anytime you like. That's $22 US a month, and you're getting a video per week personally for that group, just for that group. It's not the same material I'm putting on YouTube. It's personally for that group, tailored for that group, activations for that group, meditations for that group, cards for that group. It's uniquely for that space, a space I've created for that purpose, and that is a moving, fluctuating space as well at the moment. So let me crack on. 17 minutes in. That's my I didn't intend the video to go that way, but I can't really go any further into what I'm going to say without being 100% honest. So I'm known for that. You know, people love it, they hate it. I'm totally honest. I'm giving you the human perspective as well, and that's how things are at the moment. And it has to be said, especially in the light of the title of what I'm going to talk about now. So you don't have to get bored listening to my side of it here, I will put below the video how many minutes in I'm actually going to launch into the update here, if you want to fast track through my actual, let's say, appeal, which I didn't set out for it to be an appeal, but there you go. So 2020 energy update, the year of finality. Not only is this very resonant and relevant for myself, but it's also relevant and resonant with many of the people that I come into contact with and have the honour of working with or helping in the course of a year. And it really is this crunch point time of where people are going to either move upward and inward, so inward and upward, or whether they are going to take a left or a right hand turn. Now what I mean by this, I don't just mean on a linear perspective. Do I do this? Do I make a decision here? Do I make a decision there? What I really mean is these kind of movements in somebody's energy field, in their vibration and frequency and consciousness. So people get to a point where they've done a vast amount of work on themselves, or they're having a vast awakening, or they're having a vast wake-up call, and they get to a point within themselves where they have to make choices on a consciousness level, on a soul level, on a spirit level. You can do so much of the metaphysical work and spiritual work, but it is going to come down at the end to a crunch point as, am I going to act upon this? Where can I compromise on a situation? Where can I compromise in a relationship? Where can I compromise in a connection? Where can I compromise in my life? Or what is an uphill struggle or an uphill battle? And when something is going on and on in a particular way, it invites us really to look at a particular energy of why it's continuing in that way. Is there a bigger picture message to it, or is there a very deeply held belief system within us that things have to be a certain way, and if they're not that way, they're not working? Or is there a deeply held belief system within us that unless things flow in a particular direction, then they are wrong? Also, you know, where we get tangled up with belief systems that actually block our consciousness, is it actually can sometimes not be coming from us, that belief system, but be an ancestral thing, or a thing within the family, the blood or soul family, and it can sometimes be something collectively, archetypally, that you are replicating within yourself. So, for example, I'm at the moment having to look, you know, if I use myself as the example again, where I'm literally being in a stranglehold financially, where I can't really continue doing what I'm doing anymore. I have to look at all the bigger picture. Okay, is there a real big belief system in the family? And I've kind of worked through them over the years. I don't feel it's any of that. Is there an archetypal thing? Can't feel any of that. Then I've had to look at, okay, do you have a thing that you think you're unworthy to receive? Is it a habit not to receive? Is there a belief system there that you don't deserve to receive? Is there an archetypal or collective energy that you're looping in there to do with receiving? Do you have fear around receiving money? And I don't have any of that. I'm not ruled by money at all, but I absolutely have no fear of it. And should I come into an inheritance or the lottery tomorrow, I'd be absolutely delighted, but I'm not ruled by it, but I'd be delighted by it. So I don't have a fear about it. I don't have that deeply held metaphysical, spiritual belief system that one has to be in a state of poverty or suffer or sacrifice in order to be worthy. So I've had to look at all those things to just see if these are blocks within me, or if this is something from outside, if I'm being stopped or blocked from outside negatively or positively, or like, you know, all these things. So it's be the same for you. Whatever is coming up in your life, whether it's around personal or professional relationships, whether it's around your workspace, whether it's around love, whether it's around finances, whether it's around the home, all of these things, it's a question of looking at the bigger picture behind it as well. Not that just that knee-jerk response, and not if it's just a one-off, but if it's a repeating pattern, if it's a theme that's just coming all the time relentlessly, then's the time to say, okay, what's behind this? What's really involved in this? What am I missing here? And what's the bigger picture? So when I say 2020 energy update, the year of finality, when I say finality, it is one of these years where people are getting to a point where they know they cannot continue in a particular vein, and change has to happen. And of course, that inner change happens first before it comes out on the external, the micro, the macro. And it's the things that we've been avoiding or putting on or papering over the cracks, plastering over. We get to a point where we realise we can't do that any longer because it's no longer working. And if it's no longer working, it's no longer working. So you know that either the mindset, the energy, the frequency, the vibration, how you're expressing, how you're creating, what you're doing has to change. This applies across the board, whether it's in your workplace, whether it's in your personal life, career, relationships, right across the board, every avenue of your life. If it's a constant kind of struggle, it's a question of looking at the bigger picture behind it, and deciding where changes have to be made, and where some of you will have to walk away from things, and where some of you have to transform and change within the situations you're in. It's, you know, it's a kind of variance on this kind of thing. So I've been getting the year of finality for a number of days. That's why I knew I had to bring a video out anyway. I didn't know it was going to be so much about me, but it wouldn't be an honest template and honest channel if I didn't bring my personal circumstances into it. So with this year of finality, it is like people are getting to a state of their evolution where they cannot any longer ignore where they're at. And where they're at may not be where they're going to stay, because energy is always in flow and fluctuating and moving. Where they're at is shifting and changing, but they have to literally acknowledge where they're at in that present moment, in the presence at the moment. And they need to not only acknowledge it, but there is a shift in their consciousness, an aha moment, a realization when they do so that, okay, this is really how I truly feel deep down. I can't ignore that any longer, and I have to honor how I feel, and then I have to do something about it. And that's what I mean by that year of finality. That's on the personal level for people. So they're coming to a point within themselves in their personal evolution where they have to act upon, draw that line in the sand to what they know to be the truth for them, the authentic truth for them. There was also on the outside, the macro, globally, it's a year of finality really, in the sense that many of the familiar institutions and structures across the world and across the board, all the way up to what is perceived the top within those society structures, are under the microscope. There are some classic examples of that that I can think of now, both within America and both within England, where things that have been hidden are coming to light, where people are seeing the truth and the untruth and the lies behind things. And people are building to a point where within themselves they're having these realizations, but within themselves they are having these real strong moments of clarity as their vibration and frequency and perception goes up. They can see the reality of things, and because they can see the reality of these things, these institutions and structures are actually shifting and changing, because the lies can be seen now. Things are becoming more transparent because people's frequency and vibration are raising so that they can see through the masks and the charades. That's what's going on here. That's how things are shifting and changing. That is going to continue significantly. So we're going to see some things coming to a close, some things coming to transformation within those societies and structures on a global scale. It's been a long time coming. We've been expecting this to happen. Oh my goodness, around about 25, 26 years. We've known it was coming. There's been a gradual build up to that. And of course now it is starting to happen and unfold. So we are seeing these movements, these crunch points coming up. For people individually, but we're seeing it in the big society structures, politics, royalty. We're seeing it right across the board, you know, the truth of things coming out. And of course, this is only the beginning of it. So many more truths and revelations and things will be coming out. So there is an awful lot happening on a global and internal scale. And that finality I'm referencing here, people know when they've got to a point within themselves where they've reached an actual critical point where there is no choice now but to transform, to whether that transformation means doing something completely different, moving to a completely different area, circulating with completely different people. You know, it could be on all or some of those fronts or all of those fronts. There is an air about it where it's an inner push and an inner calling, like the soul's calling, that gets so strong that one knows. In a way, it gets to a point where there is no choice, and it's an inevitable kind of shift that happens. People are often very worried about this, and they worry about moving out of the caterpillar or the chrysalis and becoming the butterfly. So once one person goes through a state of evolution, they cannot make themselves go back into a caterpillar, and they can't make themselves go back into the chrysalis. And then once their wings are spread, they have to go forth as the butterfly. So this is what I'm seeing also with a lot of people, where they are at this point where they are feeling quite uncomfortable because they sense an inner finality is coming. And 2020 energies, of course, are going to be very different to what we're seeing in 2019. They're not really a continuation of the theme. It's we're moving into a new phase or a new stage where those inner knowings and inner decisions and inner shifts of consciousness are going to be showing up on the outside of people's lives. And as it is in the micro inner, as it is in the world, we'll be seeing it on a global scale. Many of the lies that have been told and the untruths that have been told for a very, very long time, and the reasons why will be coming out. And that is actually a very good thing. Yes, some of those things will be shocking. People will find them shocking when they've based their reality and perception around them and then seen actually that wasn't the truth all along. And this applies to every institution, including the world of religion. It's across every structure, institution, education, politics, everything. No stone will be untouched. No stone is untouched from this. Why is this happening? Why is it a year of finality? Because there has been a critical mass of consciousness reached on this planet where enough people are going into the heart, on the way in, going in, and are in and on the way up the rungs of consciousness, where global perception, awareness, knowing is changing. As people are opening up, the frequency is opening up, people can see, sense and feel the truth of things in themselves and outside of themselves in the world. The more people that are doing this, of course, that critical mass has now been reached, the outside structures begin to crumble or change form. They have to, because when one sees the reality of it, it shrinks and disappears. When one is programmed and doesn't see through their perception what's really happening, the thing they believe to be real or believe to be a certain way remains a certain way. When actually one reaches a state of consciousness where they see and are able to see the reality of it, it then shrinks and fades away. It's almost like kind of believing is seeing, rather than seeing it is believing is seeing. And when one knows the truth of it, they no longer, those false structures, shall we say, come down, because one knows the truth of it. Well, you know, this is all happening, all inside people, all inside people's hearts, all inside people's heads, all inside people's consciousness, which is replicating on the outside. And now the outside is being affected by what's happening in people's internal consciousness. We've said this was going to happen. We knew this was going to happen many years ago. We are now seeing it happen. So that is all very good, and that is all very good news. I mean, even with me, for people watching this channel that thinks, oh no, you know, Lindy's been working in this for years. It's going to be very sad if she walks away or has to walk away from it. You know, I'm very philosophical about these things. You know, I'm very philosophical about it. What will be, if that is what is going to be best for me personally, and that's what's going to be best for the work I do personally, or, you know, I'm going to follow that. That's my truth. If there is a sudden influx of change around this, a sudden influx of support around this, a sudden influx of financial assistance around this, so that I can do what I've been saying I wanted to do for a number of months now, which was stretch my wings and still bring back as an act of service to you guys in all the forms that I'm trying to do that, then also, you know, I'll take that aside and go with that. What I have been seeing, which is a note I'll finish on this year of finality here, is there's a couple of other YouTubers I've known of. I won't name them because they've left the public arena now because of very similar things to what I'm describing. They've been cut off financially, blocked financially, or they've come under attack, or they've come under a stalking, and all sorts of things going on at the same time, and ill health has come for them at the same time, or exacerbated at the same time. They have also had things going on with, like, social media, being cut off on social media or having stuff on social media. It's been very much the same as for me. Social media has virtually negligible support. Doesn't matter how many hundreds or a few thousand people I've got, that support doesn't come back from there. That feedback doesn't come back from there, and actually that's very, very quiet. It's a space that I prefer Twitter actually, and I've only just got going on Instagram. Facebook particularly, I find that a very toxic energy, and I've been kind of pretty ostracized on that for well over a year. Also, what I would say is it's also showing up on YouTube. So my YouTube subscribers, the YouTube keeps freezing. It keeps freezing my views. It freezes my subscribers, or then it turns the thing backwards. It's almost like I'm being frozen out. And like I say, I've got a philosophical feeling on that. I think some of it is coming from negativity, not my negativity, but outside to close me down. And I think some of it is, maybe a signal to me that things to work in a different way if I'm going to do this work anymore, or to walk away from it, so I'm weighing up all these different things. I don't have much time now to weigh these things up. Once you're being frozen out financially, you're being frozen out. So I won't be able to go into 2020 in the continued decline that's going on here. So that will be definitely a year of finality for me, very quickly in actually, beginning of the year really. So with you guys, a lot of you that I've been working with, I've been, talking along not unsimilar lines of where you've got to points where everything in you is just saying, okay, there has to be change, things have to change. Actually, it's not a negative thing, it's a very positive thing when you can't continue in the way you were. Sometimes, as human beings, we literally have to be forced. Literally forced, because you can know something and have a nagging at it, and unless it becomes a scream and a shout and you're backed into a corner, it's just human nature. Most people don't act on it until they're kind of forced by themselves or by their higher self or by their guide teams to act on it. And, I think a lot of that's going on. Excuse my croaky voice. I don't often record in the morning UK time, or even do sessions unless they're Australian sessions where I have to do mornings because of the time difference. Because I don't have much of a voice in the morning, because I'm in a damp property again in the county that I'm attempting to leave again. And it's got black mould everywhere, which we're having to clean every few days. And I'm highly allergic to black mould. It's highly toxic, and I don't have a voice really much in the morning. And of course, that's another overriding factor of trying to move out of the situation I'm in. So there you go. Anyway, enough about me. I hope you found some of what I said valuable. I had to come up here and be 100% honest. I wouldn't be Lindy if I wasn't. People love me or hate me for that. I'm going to say it as it is, in the most loving way I can, but in the most honest way I can as well. So I plan to still be up here. I'll be putting videos out. I feel that another one will be coming out quite soon. And of course, I'm on Patreon every week if you want to join me on there. And you will find me popping up now and again on Instagram and places like that. If you want to order the album, I'll put the link below. And if you do wish or are inspired to donate, obviously I'm eternally grateful for that. Obviously, I also appreciate not that people are in not the financial situation to do that. Some aren't inspired to do that. Like I say, out of the nearly 17,000 subscribers I had, about 160 stepped up to the mark. I am grateful to those 160 because they kept me going really for a number of more months. But it hasn't been enough to tip that balance. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Until then, I'll keep coming back up here doing the videos until the end of the year, and we'll see if this thing has turned around by then. And if it hasn't, you'll be the first ones to know. So 2020, the year of finality, wherever you're at in your relationships, your life, your home, your situations, your consciousness, there will be an inner knowing within you of when change has to happen, and that when that has to translate linearly, physically, like walking your walk, like making the physical changes, or whether it can still mull around externally. You'll be the first ones to know. You have to follow your instincts on that, just like I have to follow mine. And it's a very different energy, 2020. Very, very different. We're going to see the results showing up of what we have or haven't done. Until then, I'll love you and leave you. Didn't mean this to go on for nearly 40 minutes. Take care. See you soon. Bye, guys.